for bibliographic information on books is one of the easier places to start in considering this who, what, when, and where was this thing created. So if you're looking at a physical book, this information is very easy to find. It's typically on the title page where you're getting the author's name and the book title. You flip that page over, you get what's called the copyright page, where you get all that fine print of legal data of this is the date of when it was published, and this is the publishing house that created it and owns the book. So your who, what, when, and where are very simple to find when you're looking at physical print copies of books. When you're looking at electronic records for books, like we're looking at on this screen here, or if you're looking at an ebook, that data becomes a little bit more confusing for the students, but you're still looking for who, what, when, and where. So this page that you have on your screen is what's called an item record in the library's catalog. Since this is an online class, I'm not able to have you go to the Livermore Library in person to look at books, so mostly what we're going to be looking at in creating citations and learning how to find these materials and how to evaluate them for credibility is you're going to be looking at the item record for the books. And so that is this page. It comes out of our Primo subscription database discovery tool. And so this book we're looking at here, you're getting the title here, Histories of Libraries in the Western World. So for item records within the library's catalog, which is called Primo, most of your bibliographic data is going to be up here right at the top. So you're getting the title of the book, Histories of Library in the Western World. Underneath that, you get the author's names. So you have Michael H. Harris and Elmer D. Johnson. You also get the date of publication of 1984. And so you get three of your content pieces you're looking for right up at the top. Your fourth piece of where was this created, you need to scroll down. So if you scroll down, you get more information about what the book is about. And down here in this details section, you get more information about what is this book. So you get your creators, which are once again your authors, and then your publisher info is going to be this Scarecrow Press. Now, for this class, we are using APA 7th edition. It no longer requires that you have the location with the city and state with your publisher info. You just need to know the name of the company. If you're using a different citation style like MLA or Chicago or any sort of the ones that they use in the sciences that do require that location, that's always going to be listed next to the publisher name. So publisher, city, and state next to it is where that company is located. So who, what, when, where. Typically, if you don't see the info you need at the top, you scroll down to the details section and you're going to find it on this page. So looking at another example, another easy example of the rural South since World War II, title of your book. So that's your what. R. Douglas Hurt is your author, 1998 is your copyright. Now, sometimes, I mentioned it in the PowerPoint, you see this little icon of a C and a circle. That is the copyright icon. That is the legal trademark icon for copyright. You don't have to include that in the bibliographic info. That got copied over by a machine when the metadata for the book was being put in. 1998 is all you need for the date. And do remember, for most books, you're not looking for a specific date with a month and a day. You're just looking for the year of when this was published. Most citations and most bibliographic info, if you have the year, that's all the information you need. We got a few exceptions to that. We're going to talk about that in some of the other videos. Scroll down once again, and you're going to get that publisher. So this one's Louisiana State University Press, coming out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Like I said, for APA 7th, you don't have to have that for this class. You just need to know that publishing company. University presses are very common publishing companies for academic books. So if you're seeing that university press, you're going to see that quite a bit. Few things to look out for in catalog records is variations of this. So I'm showing you the basic version. This is our easy, this is what, who, what, when, where, identifying bibliographic info for a book looks like. You get a few variations of that, and the biggest one is editors. For academic books, it's very common to have an editor as opposed to an author, or sometimes you get an author and an editor. If you are seeing the word editor next to a name, that person is an editor, and so you're going to have to list that in the citation. So when we talk about citations next week, I'm going to show you how to do that. But an editor is very different from the author. typically editors are compiling the information of the books. They might be making revisions to it, but they're not creating the data from scratch. And so for this one, you have 3 editors instead of 3 authors. Many times when you're looking at editor or author names within the Primo catalog records, you're getting it last name, first name. Sometimes you see it last name or first name, last name. Use common sense. Y'all know what a last name versus a first name looks like. So if you're seeing that comma in between there, Funston is the last name, Anger's the first name, and you can tell that. So yes, so you have your editors as opposed to authors. If you have authors and editors, you need to list them both, and you need to label which is which. If you only have editors and no authors, the editors do replace the authors in that who section. Strong Start, Supported Transition and Student Success is the title of the book. 2014 is the date, and then we scroll down, get that publisher. Cambridge Scholars Publishing is who published this book. Another common variation, you see editors most frequently. Occasionally, you will see translators. So for this one, the brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I'm going to pretend I said that correctly. You're seeing the name translator next to a name. That person is not the author of the book. Dostoevsky is the author, and so you're seeing that listed next to it. You don't need to list author next to the names. If it has nothing listed next to it, it's automatically understood to be the author. But if you get translator next to that, this is the person who translated this book from Russian into English for publication. They didn't actually write it. So do keep that in mind. Another thing that confuses some students, if you're seeing dates next to authors, you see this quite a bit with literature books. That is the date range that the author was alive. It's not the date the book was published. For this one to see the date the book was published, you're needing to scroll down to the details section down here. So you're getting that publisher, not publishing, distributed by Random House. Creation date is that 1992. So this book was created in 1992. That's the copyright date that you're looking for, that creation date down here, not that 1821 to 1881. That is a bit of info that sometimes goes in the library records, but it's not needed for citations. Part of creating citations and identifying bibliographic info is knowing what to leave behind. And so that's an important thing that students sometimes get confused by. If you're seeing a date next to a name, that's the date the person was alive. For this one, he was born in 1943. At the time of this item record was created, this Richard Pavir was still alive, so he doesn't have a death date yet, but that info is not needed for your identifying bibliographic info.